into it. So much of the national news is focused on a potential shutdown of the government and the rollout of at least the very early stages, October 1, of Obamacare, when exchanges will hopefully be available for people. And you're a congressman and you're a doctor, so you might be a good person to talk to about this. First of all, from where you sit, what's likely to happen in the coming weeks?
Yeah, so here's what, a continuing resolution's been kicked over to the Senate. Looks like they're working on that today. They'll probably send a clean bill that, continues to keep government open back to the House of Representatives. Now the question is what the House leadership wants to do in that situation.
I want to catch people up. The House passed a bill that funds all of government except for Obamacare, House controlled by the Republicans. The Democrats are not happy about that.
Well, the Affordable Care Act now is law.
Right.
Let's actually fix this law, and that's where we should be focused, right? I think most people understand that our healthcare system is out of control, costs are out of control. So what we've been focused on is how do we fix this? And the real issue here is why do we keep passing these temporary bills that just fund government? We've talked about this before. I ran on no budget, no pay, and core to our job is actually passing a federal budget. So the public knows what our priorities are. That's what we have to do, and that's the breakdown in Congress.
There's so much to talk about in this, and I hope you still share the frustration of people who are not in Congress because you're so newly there. Again, we still have a debt limit debate to have, and we're going to do all this all over again. If you're not following along, this is just a continuing resolution. This is, well, we haven't really been responsible enough to have a proper budget, so we have to keep kind of passing these little laws to throw more money at the government until we grow up.
And that's the frustration, right? You would never run a business like this. Again,
never.
Core to our job is passing a budget that starts to address our debt, our deficit, starts to long-term unburden our kids, right? Because our kids and grandkids are going to be buried under this mountain of debt. That's what Congress should be focused on, and that requires a negotiation. That requires Democrats and Republicans to come together, put the country first, put our economy first. We've done it before, right?
Well, that sounds great, but we're mired in the details right now. So, stopping the government, well, nobody wants to do that. What do Democrats say when the Republicans say, look, no need to shut down the government, we funded everything except, what's the response?
Well, what I'd say is, let's take the Affordable Care Act, and I'd say this to my Republican colleagues, and I do say this to my Republican colleagues, tell me what you don't like about it, I'll tell you what I want to fix in it, and let's start fixing it. Let's start, as a doctor, let's make this about patients. Let's make this about what is best for the American patient.
Let me tick off a number of things Republicans asked for that didn't get in the Affordable Care Act. One is transportability, being able to shop for health care across state lines. Is that a problem?
It is in some states. So in California, we've got a robust health insurance exchange. We've got 13 plans in there. But in some smaller states, where you only have 1 or 2 health plans, costs are going up.
Wouldn't it be a benefit for them to be able to shop across state lines?
Well, again, that's an area where we should actually be able to sit down and figure out how you make a real free market system where you have true competition in healthcare. Because if one health plan has a monopoly, you're not going to lower costs.
You're wrapping me. We're out of time, and I want to talk to you about this for a long time. Give me 30 seconds. The other thing I know the Republicans really wanted, didn't get in the law, is tort reform. They say that's a huge cost driver. Yes?
And I would tell you that as a Democratic doctor, I'm working with a Republican trial attorney to look at the issue of liability protection. I would love to think we can come together on some of this stuff. You know what? We can, though, right? We just got to listen to each other and work together. When are you next back in D.C.? I'm flying out early tomorrow morning. They're calling us back into session because we've got some work to do and we've got to put the American people first. Thank you very much for coming in. We always appreciate you taking time to stop by and chat with us. Oh, glad to be here. Thanks for having me back. You bet, Doctor. And Darren